All right, y'all, today I'm getting ready. Clearly my hair is not done yet. I'm just getting ready for my friend's birthday. That's what we're doing. I guess I'm just gonna talk about my experience as a psychic, just how it came about and stuff. One of the very first conscious recognition that I have had of that gift, I was like, I don't even think I was 5 years old yet. I was so young. I could definitely talk. I think I was like maybe 4, maybe I was 6-ish. You know what? I have no idea. It was a long time ago. But I remember my dad taking me, we had this A&W by the house where I lived. And we just loved it there. I don't know, it was the best. Back in the day when A&W was just... it was just so... I mean, it's still really good, but it was just so good back then. It was like... I don't know if they still do this at A&W now, but it was the time where they would definitely bring you would park and they'd bring your food out to you. Anyways, the point being, we loved the A&W. Anyway, so I'm super young, and I remember standing in the line of A&W. My dad always used to take me to A&W, well, a couple times, whatever, like every couple weeks, and I just remember... And this was happening a lot before this A&W situation. I remember I would think about something. Randomly, I would just like think about something, and five minutes later, someone like some random stranger, or even someone or even someone I knew said exactly what I was thinking. And at the time, I didn't realize that was me sort of receiving information. I wouldn't have classified it back then as like psychic or anything like that, but I knew it was happening. So it was happening a lot. Literally, like I'd be thinking about, I can't even give you a good example. Actually, the A&W example is going to be the best one. Here we go. We're standing in line at A&W, and I literally heard this entire person's order. There was a guy standing in front of me in line, and I heard his order. I don't remember what it was now, but I literally heard something like, I'm just making this up, but literally Papa Burger with onion rings, this drink. And I swear to God, it was exactly what he ordered. Exactly what he ordered. And I told my dad, and I was like, Dad, that's literally exactly what I just heard. And he's like, what? What do you mean? And I was like, I heard this guy. I heard his order in my head before he said it. And then he said exactly what I heard in my head. And my dad was always like pretty supportive of me in that sense growing up. He was the kind of dad that was like, I know you're magical and stuff. But this was when I was really young, right? Hopefully all the dads say stuff like that, and parents say stuff like that to their kids just to keep that imagination alive. I think it's really healthy. But my dad was just so sweet. He was like, I knew you were magical. And anyways, those kinds of things, like the A&W story, is what I was starting to realize that I was hearing. Before and even after that, I knew that it was definitely something that I knew wasn't nothing. Looking back now, obviously, like that's definitely psychic ability. It wasn't just that. There was a lot of other things that would happen, but my youngest gift, or the gift that I can remember, how it started manifesting super early is that. And then yeah, I could just see stuff in my room, and like I had very vivid dreams. This is probably when I'm getting a little bit older now. There was a point in time where my parents were like, the tooth fairy's not real, and that's not real. What you're seeing is always just your imagination, right? But like when I was a small child, they were super supportive. And I think that was on purpose, actually, looking back. Like I think that helped me with my gifts today, because at such a young age, my core memories are that my parents like believed, and they literally would say like, oh, you're magical. I don't know. They literally just, I think those are some of my first memories that I can recall of my gifts at least, sorry. And that was really cool. It was just always it was just I don't know. It was just something that always happened and to me all the time. And I don't want to say I could sense energy as a kid, but like what kid can't? I don't think that counts as anything super indicative of my gifts. But and we all actually have spiritual gifts. And psychic is not, I don't know, for some reason it's very like, people think sometimes that that's the coolest gift to have. And of course it's my gift, and so of course I think it's cool, but it is not the coolest gift to have. It's not. It's, you know what? It's like I really like it. That's not the only gift that I have, but I have a lot of spiritual friends that are very good friends of mine, and they have a lot of different gifts, and some of them don't have the psychic part. And so personally, when I say psychic, I do mean like more future. You can see the future, like you can, whatever your channel is, if that's, you can see the future, you're more clairaudient, you can hear the future, you can know the future, like it depends. But for me and how I define it, I think psychic is like, you can, the future things, information comes to you through the divine. That's just when I say psychic, that's what I mean. I don't mean just like any sixth sense. But anyways, the point being is that everyone actually does have a spiritual gift. And I was saying, some of my spiritual friends, they don't have that gift of future seeing, and they don't care because they're so honed in on their own. This concealer is dry and it looks like I have crow's feet, but I don't. It's just literally cracking in these lines. Can use a little Fix Plus on that, or a lot of Fix Plus on that later. Anyways, and everyone has some sort of gift. You might be, sorry, my camera cut out. I don't remember where I ended, but I think I was saying that everyone has some sort of spiritual gift. And my other spiritual friends who aren't psychic in the sense of like future telling or seeing, they don't care, because they're so honed in, at least not now, like maybe before, but what I've seen is that the more people hone in on their own gifts and start focusing on their own gifts and how they use their own gifts, the less you really care about other people's or like what you're lacking. But everyone does have a gift. And then I would say, as I started growing up, I just knew I was like really sensitive to people's energies. I'm kind of like half introverted, half extroverted, but I'm slightly more extroverted than I am introverted. I definitely like my alone time. I need my downtime, and I love to go out. I love the people in my life and all of that, but sometimes I really do need some downtime. And anyways, I found that growing up, elementary, junior high, high school, I didn't have an abundance of friends. I had a lot of people around me, but I didn't actually feel close to anybody. Really, I had one childhood best friend, and that was my girl, but we were super close, and I had other good people in my circle, but in general, I didn't really feel super connected to a lot of people because I was so sensitive. And again, at the time, did I necessarily recognize like, girl, this is your sensitivity waking up again, and this is your this and that, whatever. I didn't really realize that at the time, but I also like felt something brewing. I always knew that I think, and I'm saying that because, like I said, my parents were always like, you're so magical. When I was a little girl, I think because of that experience, when I was in sort of junior high, high school era, I did feel something brewing, and I would say it was junior high more so than high school was also, but junior high is really when it started. I love even though I just said my under eyes are cracking, but we're gonna make it so that they're not like that. But I would say junior high was pretty big for that. Just me recognizing there was something brewing. The best way I can describe it, and I don't know why this analogy is coming to me, but it's the one that I feel like using. When you just like feel that it's gonna rain, like you can smell it in the air, something's brewing. Maybe it's you have a feeling, or like you're just looking at the outside signs. It smells like it's about to rain. It's getting windier, like maybe the cloud, you know what I'm saying? You feel like something's brewing, like a storm is brewing. I just knew that at the time, and I don't know, really remember when these started. I don't remember. Actually, I'll touch on that in a bit. Going back to the energies though, I think junior high could really just sense people's energies. I was super sensitive, and I think that's why I had a few good, close friends, but I still didn't feel fully like everybody. There was maybe like 2 people, which grateful, like 2's a lot, but I don't know. I feel like when you're younger, a lot of people have usually like a lot of friends. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I just am speaking on, I never personally felt truly close to anyone. Truly. Except for like maybe one person. But I was super extroverted if I got to know you and I was like really comfortable. It was crazy. But if you don't know me, I definitely was super shy. In ways I'm still like that, but I've definitely come out of my shell a lot more than I was growing up. But yeah, so super sensitive, just didn't really like to be around too much energy, or energy that I didn't like, obviously. And yeah, I know you might be thinking like, most people are like that. No, I don't really think. There's some people who can be around other energies, or like, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, actually. That could be a gift. It really is a gift to be so good with people and to be like, I'll talk to anyone, no problem. I'll figure them out. I'll just know how to work with. I would say that's a gift as well. For me, that's probably not. It was not. It was definitely not, and it's not. So I'm still super similar now, actually, but so I was super sensitive, and people really drained me. I just felt like, and maybe this is because I had gone through some stuff in my childhood, but I also kind of felt like some of the people I was surrounded by lacked a sort of depth, I suppose. Like, I just felt, when you can just feel that someone's superficial or just hasn't gone through stuff. And I'm so not judging, because I do truly believe that and know that everyone has their own path, everyone has their own journey in life, and not everyone is gonna have the same experiences, and everyone is on their own timeline. It doesn't matter it's not a race. It's not. People go through what they need to go through. The soul knows what lessons it needs to move through, and it's really not judgment. But yeah, anyways, I think that could also add to one of the reasons that I just didn't want to spend time with, because I was sensitive, so I could feel like, this person's like, what are we gonna talk about all day? It's just, it was, to me, it was like, this is stupid shit, you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? This is superficial. It just felt like everyone's just trying to be popular. I don't know. It started back then, all of that. And dreams, I was gonna say dreams, I've always dreamt. I've always been quite the dreamer. I have dreams like pretty much when I was growing up, I didn't have dreams every single night, but the dreams started. I'm looking for my Fix Plus. I'll be right back. Found it, by the way. The dream, I cannot live without this Fix Plus, I swear. The dream started, I was saying I've always dreamt. But not as much as I have in like my adulthood, actually. And when I decided to really just say okay to my gift and say okay to my purpose, I do believe that the divine, you're assigned certain spiritual gifts that are tethered to your soul, and you can say yes to using them in any lifetime that you choose, and that's up to you. But they're waiting for, your gifts are waiting there, waiting for you to say yes. Like, what is this about, right? And if you don't in this lifetime, they are tethered to your soul. So it's something that you carry on from lifetime to lifetime, and if it's not this one, it'll be the next. So don't have to worry about that. They are yours to have. But always dreamt, more so when I was an adult, when I decided to be like, okay, yes, this is how I actually discovered I was psychic is I found a psychic who's also still my psychic. I know you might be thinking, Annika, if you're a psychic, why do you need a psychic? I believe you should never stop mentorship. I believe that you should always, not always, but you should. What I mean, actually always. What I mean by always is like never stop learning, never stop developing, never seek a trusted outside source to help you on your journey. I found this psychic probably when I was like, I don't know, like 21, and my friend at the time, she told me about this really amazing psychic that I still, it's seated. I'm 31 now, so I think I was 21 or 22 when I first saw her, and then I didn't reach out to her for years until, like years. One day I just needed a psychic, and I was like, who can I call? And it was her. And I was like, I just remembered, I was like, oh yeah, one time I did see this lady, and she was really great. And so here we are 10 years later, she still is my psychic. And sorry, how to use the gift, because like we have to, how to navigate certain things. Like I have a lot of, because especially when I was reopening mediumship, where I got to the place where I was like, I'm comfortable doing this, I want to just explore. I was still probably scared, but I wanted to explore, and I've had some scary experiences for sure, where the next day I'm on the phone with my psychic being, what just happened? I'll tell you guys those in the future. She's definitely someone that I have always gone to, and she's amazing. For mentorship, I just think there's times where I don't see her for a long time, or because I do think it's important to also grow on your own and figure out how you use your channel, to understand your own channel on your own. But yeah, I see her every once in a while still, just because she's just helped me so much as well. Like she's my psychic, but she has really gotten me through some tough stuff, and I don't know, she's the best. She's really amazing. She's awesome. That's also a big tip I would say for your continuing education for psychics. You don't have to have your own psychic. You don't have to, I don't know, you could be in a group. I lied. Clearly I very much so like this one. It's so old. I don't even know which one it is, but I really love these. And they stay on forever. I think they're like, one is like $85, I want to say, but this has lasted me 3 years, too long. Anyways, point being, it's great to always get perspective, help. Yeah, you don't have to have like an individual psychic, but if you are a part of a spiritual group, if you're like, you learn through doing courses that other spiritual people do and whatever. I'm just saying, I think it's important not to stop learning or getting help. Like my psychic gonna be my psychic for the rest of my life. I ain't switching, I ain't changing, but I'm also just really lucky to have her. She's awesome. You can help. It is a thing that you can outgrow your psychic. I don't know, if you have one as well and you just don't feel like they're aligned with you anymore, that can happen too, where you just, I don't know, it's just not, maybe the psychic outgrew you, I don't know, whatever, or maybe it's just they're not the person that's most aligned to your path right now. It doesn't really matter which way or why, but that's the thing. I definitely am lucky in that sense. But yeah, I would say now the way, our gifts, the gifts evolve as your person, just like we evolve as people. Your gifts evolve, they change in the way that you use them, I would say. At first, when I was little, it was like seeing stuff. It was hearing people's orders and just hearing something that someone would then repeat within minutes. Minutes, I swear. even if it was on the radio, if it was my parents, if it was random strangers, within minutes. So that's how it was. Then I would say it was like switched from being able to sense energy and just know that stuff was gonna happen. Dreams have always, like I said, I've always had those, but in my adult years when I decided to just open up that, it's a whole story of why and how I said yes to opening up my gifts. I'll tell you guys that in another video as well, but when I said yes, it was like crazy dreaming, crazy amount of that, energy sensing as well, just being able to know, just a knowing, like that's not gonna happen, that's gonna happen. I still do hear stuff before people say it, but I would say my strongest, how come this eyeball? I've always dreamt, but what I really mean is like your gifts change. Spirit will kind of use your channel in different ways, I think, to teach you how to interpret the language of the divine in more ways than one. When I was an adult, like, so I actually was born, like, I was clairaudient. I was born with that. Clairvoyant. I was born with that, but clairvoyant, I also don't see it necessarily the same exact thing as psychic. It just means you have the ability to see. Again, this is my definition. Like, there's many definitions. I'm not, use whatever works for you, whatever. But for me, the clairvoyant is absolutely not psychic. You just have the ability to see the spiritual realm, and that is absolutely incredible. I'm not trying to make it sound like, oh, you're clairvoyant or you're not, you're clairaudient. That's absolutely incredible. And I'm just saying it's not quite the same thing. But a gift I also have, I could hear and see when I was little. And then when I said yes again, I really got to do something about this hair immediately. I'm gonna curl it and then put it. I need some jewelry. Gosh, this is just looking like a mess, but it was more so dreams, feeling, sight through meditation. Then it changed. I could still see, but like the hearing was stronger at one point, and then the dreams became crazy, and then spirit would talk like to me through my body. Like simple yeses and no I could feel in my body. At times I could hear the yeses and no's. Spirit changes how, this is what I mean by evolve and using different aspects of your channel to help you understand it. I have got to do something about this hair, so I'm gonna be back. Came back with the hair did, got some of my jewels on. Now I have to get dressed and put some lipstick on and all that, but hair makes such a crazy difference. But yeah, what I was saying though, clairvoyant is you can see things, whereas psychic is more like you can see, you can be psychic and be clairvoyant. Usually most psychics are clairvoyant, but not necessarily all clairvoyants are psychic. But you could still be psychic and not clairvoyant. Maybe you get future premonitions through hearing, feeling, knowing, right? There's many different ways, but clairvoyant, I'm just saying that it is, by my definition, you can see things. It's more like it's more present, or you can see spirits. So it is a little bit different, but all of it is incredible. And I have some spiritual friends who are incredible with animals. That is their main gift. They really do know exactly what animals are saying. I have some friends who are medical intuitives. They can see what's going on in the body. I don't know. It's all absolutely incredible. Don't worry about not being psychic, or because you have your own gift, and if you're psychic, that's awesome. Too, it's not, I don't know, sometimes it does seem to be sort of glamorized for whatever reason. I don't think so. It's amazing, but everyone has different gifts. All right, well, I'm just gonna now get dressed and head out because the girl is late. But first, let's throw on some gloss. Gloss is on, and let's get ready. Also,